Okay, this is part 2 of our discussion of how to actually fork and self-host this software. So if you go to mobilebible.net and you click at the very bottom, there's a button to fork or self-host me, and that will bring you to Bitbucket. And Bitbucket is going to have an option to show you how to really launch this from scratch. So let's talk about the process. I do have a copy of this downloading in the background right now as I'm talking. Let's see if it's almost done because it is sizable and Bitbucket can be slow at mirroring. So all you've got to do is clone down this repository. Run git clone. If this is beyond you, you can use any of the AI models and you can paste these instructions in and have it walk you through setting up a web server with these. It would not be hard for any of those AI models to walk you through this. The entire tool is very, very easy. So I'm going to talk about this as if you've used Git before, and then I'll go in some more basic details if you haven't and try to explain this at a lower level. So at a higher level, if you've used GitOps before and you're familiar with web development, then you'll know you can use git clone to clone down this repository, and then you can change directory and go straight into it. And you're going to look inside of the source folder. So all the website source unminified lives in src. So you're going to go and look for site.yaml.example. That's a YAML file that contains definitions about how to build the site. What's the name of the website? What's the what should the URLs be? That's sort of like, really basic details about the page. And then you also have an option to enable or disable observability. By default, I have Google Analytics and Grafana Faro. I professionally work as a site reliability engineer, so I wanted to play with Faro in here, and it seemed like a really good tool for it. But understandably, if you're in an area where you don't want to have anything phoning home, you just have observability turned to false, and then it will not be sending any Google Analytics data or any Faro values out. A completely isolated sandbox. That's how this was originally designed. That's the intent of the software. But for me debugging it and testing it, I obviously need to know how it performs for people. My download finished. Fantastic. We'll get to that here in a bit. Turn off that stupid pop-up. So you've got the file copied. Now what you're going to do is you're going to build the assets. You're going to cd change directory into the source folder, and there's a deploy site shell script. You're going to clean and deploy. And what that does is it will deploy all of the custom error messages, deploy the minimized CSS, JavaScript, and a compiled software package. And then this is optional because it takes over a gigabyte. But in the other video, I showed you the static website, and there's just a static website deployment tool, and that will build the static website under /static, the folder /static here, which by default has just a placeholder in it, 785 bytes. That's way smaller than a couple gig. Understandably, it would blow my project size out if I was giving everyone a complete copy of the completely flattened out HTML website. So if you want to generate that under static, you just run that one tool and it will generate the static website deployment. Let's talk about how that works. So if I go into the source folder, there are a couple scripts in here. There's the YAML file we'd configure, right? So these are descriptions for how to configure the system. It kind of walks you through your config directives. You can define your Faro settings you could define here, your Google Analytics key, all of that. You've also got the deployment tool install job, and this will go through and it will install all of the required tools to run a deploy site.sh. Now, I tested this on a Debian-based distribution. I personally use MX Linux, and I use Enterprise Linux. I use Rocky generally for my servers, but for my code development, because so much more is available in Debian, I use MX Linux. So if you're using Ubuntu or straight up Debian or any Debian flavor, you should have no issue with any of this. If you're using something else, I don't know, that's up to you. You can, again, you point an LLM at this and be like, hey, it's not running, and force it to figure it out for you. I don't really care. If you find a way to improve this, you're welcome to commit back to my repository and include updates to that. But there you go. That was mainly built for Debian, and it works great on Debian. So only thing I've tested it on. Static site deploy.sh will go through and it will build the entire static website. It works very well, very straightforward. I don't think I'm going to speak more on that. So there is Python under the hood, right, to actually do that. It's pretty complicated logic to go through and build everything. So that does end up being a massive Python script. But yeah, inside of the source folder, you're going to see everything in an unminified version. So like all the content in here is non-minified. It's very, very large, but you're going to, if you look at the production website, you're going to see that it's not like this. It's all smashed and minified to save transmit space, network bandwidth. So when you run that deployment tool, everything gets minified. What else to talk about? Under docs, the docs folder, if you want any details on how this is built, there's a pretty comprehensive bit of details here. And for some reason, Bitbucket doesn't properly do nested bullets. I think I've got to do some spaces. I got to do like a carriage return between my unordered lists, which I'm not going to rewrite this. It works fine in VS Code, so whatever. If Bitbucket doesn't want to display it right, that's Bitbucket's problem. There are a bunch of mermaid diagrams, which also work really well in VS Code or other tools, or even in GitHub. But if you look in here at like API, there's details on how to interact with this, and there would be normally a giant mermaid diagram there, which is like a pretty flow chart, but it's just not rendering in Bitbucket because they don't do mermaid diagrams for some reason. And so it talks about the data structure and how everything's set up. There's an architecture document that goes through the directory structure, what everything does, the modules. It even goes through all the functions and the various utilities. I try to break up the JavaScript. If I go to source here real quick, I'm going to talk about that too. The JavaScript gets pretty complicated. So I did break it down into modules. So, things that will deal with strongs are going to be in strongs.js. And that really helps break up it ended up being a massive JavaScript file. And I started getting to the point that it was really unmanageable. So I logically broke things out into modules and tried to make it sort of easy to work with, like daily readings. This one is pretty awesome. So, we talked about that in the other video. So here's a cool one, Lectionary. That's technically released under the unlicensed because I just converted it mechanically. So this is going to be, if you want to just share this with somebody else for a different project, it is a Catholic lectionary calculator. The original code was written in PHP and released under the unlicensed. So this is also released under the unlicensed. It's just a translation of that PHP code to JavaScript. So have fun with that if you so choose. But yeah, that's the whole thing. I guess I could talk about, structure and everything else of how this is built. I don't know how much you care about that other than, hey, I just want to get this thing running. And if that's the case, you literally just clone it down, configure the YAML, and then, install the required tools, and then you can build the assets. You just run deploy site, and that's it. Really straightforward. And when you run it, it doesn't like deploy it to the web root on your server. It deploys it into this folder. So there'd be, all your HTML in here and everything else. Now, what you do with this, when you host it, there are instructions under docs and security. Where is it at? Talking about how generally you secure this. So like generally you block access to the docs folder and you block access to the source folder, because that's where you're going to put your config directives and a lot of other stuff and whatever edits you might make. You don't need to have that out there on the web too. So then you add the file system rules. And I added Apache data because I use Apache. I'm not a huge Nginx fan. Old habits die hard, I suppose. So again, if you want to have, Codex or whatever, or, Anthropic's, Anthropic's Claude, go through and convert this. Then you can be like, yeah, I want to use Nginx. Best of luck to you. Again, if you end up writing good docs and you test them, it's fantastic. I don't care. I'd love for you to share them. But again, also mermaid diagrams not being shown here, but they do exist. Very straightforward. It talks about some basic security settings, some Apache hardening you should probably configure. Just some stuff to kind of sharpen up your website. Very straightforward. So anybody can clone this. You can run it on your server. It's not complicated. I might pull up some details of what a production one looks like. Give me a second here. Well, I suppose no better time than the present to work through this process. So let's go ahead and clone down a copy into my demo folder here. So we're cloning down entire copy of this, and it will take it just a bit. It is not a small, it was 300 megabytes, this repository. So it will take it just a second. I'm on a gigabit connection, so it's going pretty fast for me. But if you're in like Australia on whatever poor kangaroo internet you have, then you're suffering through this. I have friends down there, so sorry. That's if that doesn't make sense to you. A lot of Australians will tell you they have terrible internet. I think they've gotten better if you're in an urban area, but if you're out in the boonies and the outback, then you're still probably, well, I guess Starlink. But yeah, it was pretty bad. All right, so download complete. Now, if I do ls just to look at the directory, there's mobilebible.net. We've downloaded it. Let's go on in, and let's go to the source folder. Okay, I want to cat readme, and it's going to talk about all this stuff, but I just want to copy this command out here where we're going to be like, oh, let's copy the example YAML into the main YAML file we're going to use. All right, and we're going to look at that site.yaml. And in here, we could configure all kinds of cool stuff. Right now, observability is disabled. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want to have Google Analytics or Faro, you can turn those on there. We're going to rename this my awesome Bible .local .lan. We'll do that, yeah, because Apple run .local. We can't use that anymore. We use .lan. So my awesome Bible.lan. Right. So you just we changed the URL. We changed the name of the website. And I'm going to just hit escape and then shift ZZ. We're going to save out of that buffer. Right. We're going to clear the screen. And then now we're going to build this. So I'm just going to run deploy site. Actually, before I do this, let's talk about how big this is right now. So we're going to do du-d1-h /. So this entire package right now on disk, unzipped, is 1.3 gig. We haven't even done anything yet. So now we're going to do the build. So we'll go back to source, and we're going to run deploy site. And if I run it blank, it's going to say, hey, what do you want to do, dude? And I want to do -- clean, remove anything that's in there that was left, and there shouldn't be anything, but just run it in case. And then run deploy. So clean and deploy. Bam. And now it just bundled the JavaScript, and it's going through and it's building all of the assets. We're skipping the observability because we don't need it. And then we're going to look at what some of these look like. So I showed you earlier in Bitbucket how this stuff looked. Let me get to the navigation here, and I'll pull this up on screen. All right. So I have this example from source HTML where you can see the text is not minified. You've got these blank placeholders for the build version, for Google Analytics data, everything else. And then you've got the minified version here. And you can see that now it says myawesomebible.net. Oop, it does not like for me to click on it. VS Code, Microsoft. But yeah, there you go. So you can see where it injected our values in for this. And you see it generated these error pages that are custom error pages. If you look at these, like 500, let's do a preview. Where's my open preview? I'm going to look at this later and be upset for myself for not immediately clicking on it. There it is. And of course, it's not going to load the images properly. It's just VS Code doing a preview here. And of course, it's never pretty, but you can see like that's what that page is, but it's all minified and smashed. So running the deploy site just basically generates the minified site. That's all that does. And you would host out of this directory. So your web root would be, if I get out of source, that's your web root. You're going to host index.html out of that part of the website. Your sitemap.html, software.js, like all of that. That is your web root. That's you just share this to the internet. The only two directories you hide are docs and source. You don't have to, because technically it's an open source project. Like I guess they're going to see the docs that are already out there. But I do that because if I'm editing or working on it, I want to have that stuff in the background until I push. But that's just me. So that's up to you. You can put this whole thing out there. It's a static website. Like if somebody runs it, they're just going to run the code running on their own computer. They can't go and affect the system because you can host this on an S3 bucket if you want to. It doesn't matter. It's completely static. There is no backend database, none of that. So anyhow, going back to source, let's generate the static website. First, I forgot, I did show you earlier, right? So let's look at the disk utilization again. Let's see how much space this takes up. So I'll go back to D1H. So 1.3 gigs still, like there was negligible change from generating those minified files. Now we're going to go to generate the static website. I want to point out right now that the static website here is only 8 kilobytes. That's going to change. So we're going to source, and we're going to static site deploy.sh. And again, I'm just going to run it, and we're going to set back for a second. Right now, it's generating thousands of files as we're talking. If I go here on the left, I should be able to get VS Code to show some of these files as they're expanding. Let's see here. What was I trying to do? Getting distracted. Source, static, there it is. Yeah, you can see now it's generating. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff being generated in there. Yeah, lots of static web pages that are minified. So yeah, it's going to town. It takes it a while. It's going to be massive. So now the static website, there's a reason this doesn't get deployed with the repository, is it's huge. You can see generating it is very easy as long as you've got the prerequisites installed, which all you have to do is run this install deployment tools. You run that shell script and it installs everything necessary to run deploy site and static site deploy. The static site deployment is going through and it's iterating and reading these JSON objects with everything from Strong's Concordance to dictionary definitions from Webster's. It just finished. So let's go back up here and let's see how big that is. So D-D1, and it's gonna take it a second there. And if you look now, static is 1 gig. It's like right at 1 gig basically. So now your entire distribution is 2.3 gigabytes. That's the entire thing. So you just, congratulations, you've deployed the entire website. You ran 2 deployment scripts. That's literally all it takes, and you can have this thing up and running. So I hope this was useful. I hope it was beneficial to you. I hope you go and set this up on your server at home or wherever else and have fun. Best of luck to you. And like I said, God bless. You take care.